Survival itself is a luxury in the forgotten corners of human civilization, where inhumane living conditions and social marginalization intertwine. In these places, the absence of basic necessities is the harsh reality, and life itself becomes a daily struggle. These locations serve as grim reminders of the depths humanity can endure. Here are 10 places where people live in conditions so dire it may be hard to believe they actually exist. Number 10. Makoko. Nestled in the murky waters of Lagos Lagoon, Makoko, often called the African Venice or the Venice of the Poor, is a floating settlement home to over 200,000 people. Despite its name, it's hard to believe such a place exists. Homes built from makeshift materials float atop water tainted with trash and human waste. With no access to clean water, frequent poisoning is common, while sanitation is nearly non-existent. Electricity is a rare luxury few can afford. Education and healthcare are distant dreams for most, with overcrowded schools and scarce medical care. The contaminated waters lead to widespread illness, and life expectancy here barely reaches 50 years. Yet, despite the unimaginable hardships, many remain trapped in this harsh environment, seeing it as home rather than the landfill others perceive it to be. Number 9. Dhaka in Dhaka. The capital of Bangladesh, a hidden world of despair traps its inhabitants in a cycle of poverty. Overcrowded homes, built from recycled materials, form a sea of tin roofs stretching endlessly. More than 60% of the population survives on less than $1 a day, struggling to make ends meet. Vulnerability is constant, as families face not only extreme poverty and disease, but also the threat of cyclones and floods that destroy homes in an instant. Children, deprived of education, are forced into work, perpetuating the cycle of misery. With no access to clean water or proper sanitation, disease runs rampant, and limited medical care makes losing a life here easier than losing a wallet. Number 8. Shibam. In the arid lands of Yemen lies Shibam, the Manhattan of the desert, a city of towering mud brick skyscrapers, standing as a testament to human ingenuity in one of the harshest climates. Built on a natural elevation and surrounded by a valley, its strategic design allowed it to withstand floods while providing access to vital water resources. Shibam's iconic skyscrapers, some reaching 16 stories high, are constructed from sun-dried mud bricks. Despite its historical allure, life in this desert city, home to around 7,000 people, is far from easy. Constant erosion from the harsh climate demands tireless maintenance, and frequent armed conflicts threaten both the city's structures and its residents. Number 7. Burundi. In the slums of Burundi, a small nation in East Africa, human desperation and the fight for survival surpass anything imaginable. More than 2/3 of the population survives on just over $1 a day. In this environment, the slums are steeped in constant tension, where conflict, intimidation, and theft are daily realities. Gangs rule with impunity, enforcing the law of the strongest. Entire families are packed into makeshift shelters, and disputes are ever present. Hunger hits hardest among the youngest, while diseases take countless lives due to the lack of medical care. Human rights are virtually non-existent, with exploitation rampant, especially affecting women and children. Many children are forced into grueling labor for little more than a bowl of rice, while women endure abuse on a daily basis. Number 6. Agbogbloshie. On the outskirts of Accra, Ghana, lies Agbogbloshie, a dystopian landscape that exposes the dark side of technological progress. Towering piles of electronic waste fill the area, one of the largest e-waste dumping grounds in the world. Discarded technology from developed nations, including computers, televisions, appliances, and phones, ends up here in a grim fate. The waste is often burned to extract copper from cables or remove plastic coatings, releasing toxic fumes into the air. Inhabitants, many of them young, navigate this hazardous environment daily, dismantling e-waste by hand to scavenge valuable metals. Without any protective gear, they face severe respiratory issues, skin diseases, and other health risks. Home to about 40,000 people, most of whom migrated from rural areas, Agbogbloshie's harsh living conditions and high crime rate have earned it the nickname Sodom and Gomorrah. It's no wonder, as this site is one of the most polluted places in all of Africa. Number 5. Tondo. Tondo is Philippines' most dangerous slum, is home to Happy Land, an ironic name for an area buried under mountains of garbage where families live in squalor without basic amenities like clean water, sanitation, or electricity. High crime rates, gang violence, and organized crime rule the district, creating an atmosphere of fear for its residents. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of life in Tondo is the residents' reliance on pagpag, food salvaged from the garbage. Driven by hunger, the poorest collect discarded scraps from restaurants and homes, clean them minimally, cook them briefly, and consume them out of sheer necessity. Some even turn this into a business, selling these recycled meals despite the severe health risks they pose to those who consume them. Number 4. Kibera. Deep in the heart of Nairobi, Kenya, lies Kibera, Africa's largest slum, a place where resilience and survival are tested every day. Home to over 1 million people, this vast expanse of makeshift tin shacks tells a story of grit and determination amid some of the harshest living conditions imaginable. Poverty reigns here, with earning more than $1 a day seen as a rare stroke of luck. Housing consists of cramped, dilapidated tin shacks, offering little protection from the elements. The lack of proper sanitation is a critical issue, with residents resorting to flying toilets, plastic bags used as makeshift toilets, discarded in the streets. This practice contaminates the environment, spreads disease, and fills the air with an unbearable stench. Desperation drives crime, making life in Kibera a constant struggle for survival, more brutal than the wildest jungle. Number 3. Dharavi. In the heart of Mumbai, Dharavi is a sprawling maze of despair, home to over 1 million people crammed into just 2 square kilometers. Its narrow streets are lined with precarious homes, where entire families live in spaces no larger than a small room, with privacy non-existent and overcrowding the norm. Access to clean water is scarce, and contaminated sources lead to widespread disease, while a single toilet serves over 1,000 residents. Dharavi's informal economy thrives on hazardous small workshops and recycling businesses, where laborers work with toxic substances in unsafe conditions for barely enough to survive. Number 2. Haiti's most dangereux slum. In the forgotten corners of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, lies a labyrinth of misery and despair, particularly in its slums. These areas are not merely centers of extreme poverty, but also the epicenters of a daily battle for survival. The housing structures, made of metal sheets and recycled materials, offer little to no protection against the region's harsh weather conditions. These same structures become death traps during frequent earthquakes and hurricanes. The streets, dominated by gangs and criminal activity, have become battlegrounds where the law of the strongest prevails. Amid all this chaos, the mental health of residents deteriorates rapidly, with little to no access to psychological support. Environmental issues, including poor waste management and hazardous air quality, further compound the dire living conditions. Number 1. Orangi. Orangi, a densely populated area in Karachi, Pakistan, spans nearly 60 square kilometers and officially houses 500,000 residents, though the true population is believed to be much higher. Ethnic diversity often leads to disputes and territorial conflicts, and alarming estimates suggest that 8 out of 10 women here face forced intimacy. The area suffers from a severe water shortage, relying on the Hub Dam, which fails to provide adequate or clean water, resulting in high mortality rates, especially among children. The demand for housing exceeds supply, forcing many to live in subhuman conditions, further fueling the spread of disease. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe so you won't miss any future content.